Yorana, and welcome to Tahiti. Hope you're doing okay. I'm back a bit earlier than I planned for the kind of end of season review, so I'll just briefly record this bit and explain what's going on, which you can probably see on the screen, and then I'll come back later on when we know more about it. I just kind of wanted to record it as I went, but basically, because we won, the board loved the fact that we won. They changed the wage budget for next season, so they changed it from being something like $7,000 to 17. Which was a little bit excessive considering we are still pretty much in debt. And then this has come up, and I'm wondering if it's just because our rep has increased dramatically, but obviously we're massively in debt, so we look like a good kind of buy, almost. Maybe we're like in clearance, so this consortium might come in and do something about it. I don't know how I feel about this, to be honest. It depends what they do. If they come in and clear the debt, that's very different from if they come in and clear the debt and then give us tons and tons of money. I think no matter what happens, I'm looking at trying to retain the title next season anyway, just so I can be the first club to do it, and there'll be a nice send-off for the humpbacks if I can do. And the players seem to be up for trying to win the title, so we had that team meeting, we say, what do you want to do next season? I said, well, let's qualify for the OCL, because last season I had to say let's finish in the top half, and now they want to win the Premiership, so they've got a taste for it. I'm worried that this means recruitment's going to be harder and contracts are going to be a little bit harder because of that, but we'll see. So I'll stop here and I'll come back when I know a little bit more about this. But the consortium buys in the offer, and 2 days later, here's the next update. So apparently an Aratua-based consortium led by business tycoon Benjamin Yakula, he says he's going to invest upwards of £700,000 in the club, and the takeover bid itself is going to be $275. So yeah, $275 is pretty cheap for buying the champions of Tahiti. So we're in a transfer embargo whilst this goes on, so it might not go through. There's $700,000. I'm wondering if $700,000 is them clearing the debt. That would make some sense, wouldn't it, as a potential move? So yeah, we'll see how this goes. We'll see. Okay, so this is potentially the quickest takeover I've ever seen. So we got the news on the 13th of May, and on the 16th of May it's done. Complete. We got an update on the 15th saying what Benjamin wanted to do, and then the 16th he's come in, and he's bloody well done it. So he's taken over. Wants to make a difference to the fans at the reef, which we appreciate. And his first priority is to get us on a sound financial footing. He sent us a nice little message saying no further investment's going to be made at this stage beyond what he's just done, which he hasn't actually mentioned, but I'll show you. We're going to get a new director, Rodolphe Michel. Don't think it makes any difference. And apparently they're only going to judge me on the transfers and matches starting from the day they took over, which quite often is useful. It's quite nice to have that kind of fresh slate. It's not that great to have it like a week or so after you've just won the title. I would quite like to still be judged on what happened last season, because that went quite well. But apparently not. Fresh slate. They're going to just forget that unexpected title win. It's the back of their minds now. It's done. It's in the past. Embargo's lifted, and now because finances have changed, we've got 40% retention for transfer revenue rather than the 0% we had before. And if we look at the finances, yeah. So until we were about 822 in the red, then we were about 770 or 780 because we had about £50,000 of prize winning money, and then they've just basically dumped just over $1 million. There we go, just over $1 million into the club, which has got rid of that kind of over £750,000 debt and given us a little cushion of £234,000. The only debts we now have are our transfer debt, and the bank loans we had to take out for the whatchamacallit, stadium. That's what we call it. Big building that everyone goes in. Stadium. And to be honest, they're not huge chunks that are going out. So there's not much debt left. The projection is healthy-ish. So end of next season we're predicted. Not even end of next season. They're predicting the end of this season. This is what's going to go on. That's can't be right because we've got $1 million. We're not going to lose that in the next month. The tax is insane. And the next season apparently be about 16,000 in debt, and then for some reason this will go up. It might be because we've got contracts running out, so it doesn't take into consideration the fact you might renew contracts from there. So yeah, I'll come back for the rest of it. But basically, this guy's come in and saved the club from administration, which makes everything a little less dramatic. I'm still going to stay and, try and retain the title. I'm just going to quick look at transfers or scouting. Where is it? So we've got no transfer budget, so that's not changed. We've not got any money to spend. Our wage budget went up to 17,000 before even this happened. So we've got about 11 of that left because we were about 6 or 7 beforehand. So it's not changed a huge amount for us in that sense. It just means we're not dying on our ass financially. But what it could also mean is I might be able to start a coaching course. Awesome. So that's a nice little benefit. We're going to start a coaching course. Right, so I'm going to come back once the off season's done properly, and I'll do a proper review of where everyone is. Okay, so I'm back to do the actual kind of review. Now we've dealt with the takeover saga. When I say saga, it lasted 3 days, 4 days, something like that. So that's all done. One thing I did notice was we've got to suddenly start paying back this £300,000 loan that we took out. So I think what's happened is our new owners paid $275,000 for the club, and put in $1 million to bump us up, and then have somehow taken out a loan to pay for the original buying of the club. So the $300,000 covers some of that initial cost. It's very kind of glazery of them in terms of club ownership, but it's done. So that's the only thing to add there. Obviously, in the Premiership we won, obviously, on the 93rd minute of the very last game of the season, but we were kind of there or thereabouts for a lot of the season. We kind of crept our way up just in time to qualify for the OCL. So yeah, we did well there. The Rapper Cats have been relegated and go straight down, and Mount T went into the relegation playoffs, but they beat the Takaroa Terrors to keep their place. I'm a little bit sad about that because I would have liked to see the Takaroa Terrors actually make their debut in the Premiership rather than Mount T keep yo-yoing, keep scraping the bottom of the table. If we go down into the Championship, Mopiha won by a distance the title, and Takaroa Terrors were runners-up but didn't quite make it through. And down at the bottom here, the Mangareva Shellfish are getting relegated into the under-23s gold, and they're being replaced by the Reveve Jupiters, who beat them in that playoff. So you don't automatically get relegated from the Championship, you have to fight through the playoff. Because the under-23s, the league, the Huhin Islanders, or the Eels under-23s actually won it, but the Jupiters were the next highest full team. Again, by a reasonable amount. So Chevres, Exiles, Lagunas, Vines, Naruto, and Tuttingegi Wings were all kind of mid-table. They were nowhere near this. And this should actually be a relatively competitive league, but some of these under-23 teams, so Huahin, Bora Bora, Moria, Taha, all of these teams here are under 23s from title-winning sides now. And Tetero have done quite well, so they've got a reasonable under 23s. Uapoa are probably the strongest Marquesan team around. So again, these are all actually quite competitive under 23s. Madre de Dios get relegated from the under 23s to the under 23 silver, and Motu 1's under 23s get promoted. There's no other real teams in there. So those are the leagues. If we go through the cups, in the Inter-Island Cup, Skybrights won it, so the third ever team to win it, breaking sort of Taha's general hold on things. If we go forwards to the Super Cup, Taha won that one against Bora Bora, adding it to their collection. Then we have the Windward Isle Trophy, where Papite beat Moria to kind of stop their stranglehold on the cup, because they'd won it 4 times in a row before that, so stopped them going for the Big Five. Then we got the Leeward Isle Pride Trophy, and the Skybrights again won this one, beating Bora Bora. Skybrights had a fair bit of silverware this season. Puka Puka won the Mutineer Pride Trophy, beating the Bahanga Vines. We didn't qualify for the final this time round. So again, a new team winning the Mutiny Trophy. It's a bit more competitive than some of the others. Marquesas Prize Shield was won by Uapoa again, so they won it 3 times in a row. Then Nuka Hiva Spearheads won it, and then they've taken it back again. So again, they are the strongest Marquesan side. Shield of Pride again was won by Skybrights. So Skybrights getting quite a bit of silverware, beating Papite in the final. Papite did well to get some silverware actually this season, considering they went into administration in the league. They were struggling a bit. And the Youth Cup was won by the Huahine Eels. The other one we want to look at is the Oceania Champions League. As you can see straight away, and I've got to go through like 5 different menus. But you can see Taha won it 5-3 on aggregate. So they won that first leg, and that was enough to draw to see them as champions. So Taha are going to go away, play in the sort of qualifying round of the Club World Championship. Almost certainly they'll lose against a massively stronger side, but they will get paid about £750,000 for the pleasure of that, plus whatever attendance stuff they get. So they're actually going to have a bit of a windfall, and I imagine strengthen. Although I say this, the Eels dropped off the pace when they won it, but it's good for them. So they're the second team from Polynesia to win the OCL, so they've done well for themselves. And as I mentioned before, Paul Manuel, our left winger, he actually scored in one of the final legs, so he's played quite well for them. I think he actually was the 3rd highest goal scorer in the OCL. Gerard was 2nd. So he's done well. So he's going to come back to us. He's now valued at £24,000. So he's going to come back to us, and we're going to try and see if we can rotate him into the team. At the very least, he's not going back to Taha. They can replace him. And if we look internationally, so the Atoll Championship from last year was won by Tahiti. If we look at general schedule, there's no qualifiers that have been played recently, but the Pacific Games coming up and the World Cup under 23s are coming up as well. So the Austral Islands and Tahiti are in the World Cup under 23s, under 20s, and pretty much everyone but Austral Islands are in the Pacific Games, where all the under 23 teams play for this one. So yeah, that's mainly it. Those are all the competitions really to cover. It's been an interesting season, and we've been saved by that takeover to an extent. In terms of the squad, quite a big squad now to sort of work through. Bothwell's probably leaving, which is fine. Twig, I'm probably going to swap out and have Morris, because Morris looks quite good. He's rated quite highly now, whereas Twig, he's done okay. Nothing wrong with him, but maybe get him to go out on loan so he gets more game time. Chant might be leaving. Because again, these attributes are great. He's done alright. There's one player I was wanting to try and get to replace him. So there was a defender I was looking at, but the defender wanted £700 per week. So now we've got that money and we've won the title. Players want the money. So I don't know how I feel about that. Burgess we might drop back into the under-23s and favour Server. Along here, Douglas will be going as well. Manuel, I have to consider just dropping down because he's not quite doing the business. Cameron Clark, we didn't really use much at all, so we'll put him in the under-23s. We'll have Quentin Beauvalet coming along. Will be good. Dave Kerr got the gold star, so that meant he was the best player in the under-23s. So I might see if we can drop in every now and again and play games. He's got potential. Chisholm's going to be going. Wallace might potentially be going as well, but I don't really... So I don't actually need to bring in too many players. It's just maybe a central defender to cover for Chant if Chant goes. That should be good the rest of the while. But I'll leave it there. That's the end of season review plus consortium takeover special. And I will see you for the next episode. Thanks very much.